Ladies and gentlemen, I am more than happy and excited to have as a track and field legend the one and only Troy Kemp from the beautiful Bahamas. Troy Kemp. And my brothers and sisters, if you talk about legends, Troy Kemp had the ability to upset the one and only Javier Sotomayor in Gothenburg. Troy, tell me just a little bit, remind the people about what you did in Gothenburg.
Wow. Well, thank you very much, Alpheus, for introducing me, and welcome, and thank you, Bahamas, for all your support. 1995. Wow, that's a long time ago, but I think I still have it clear in my mind. I look back on those memories every once in a while, and look at the videos, and see how I did that. But I remember being very well prepared that year. It was a special year for me. My preparation for the World Championships in 1995 had changed and was different prior to the other years. But coming into the season, um, I think it was after our national championships. My second meet of the year was actually in Europe, I think, and Sotomayor took a glimpse of me, and he saw one of my jumps, and I've never seen Sotomayor freaked out at one of my jumps before. I was like, oh, I must have done something really good to freak Sotomayor out. Um, but and then throughout that year, I began to steadily increase and climb and perform well. Initially setting a national record that year, and
And where was
also got
that, Troy?
that was in Nice, France, in 1995. Well, it was my third title that I actually bettered. It was 7 feet 9 3/4 in Nice, or 2 meters 38 in Nice, France, and I believe that was in July, if I remember correctly. Um,
Yes, it was.
Sotomayor was at that meet, and he did not jump. But I could see in his face he had some concerns as well. So and it was great. And going into the World Championships, um, not a, it was interesting. Not a lot of people know this, but 3 days prior to the qualifying round of the high jump, I twisted my ankle. I twisted my ankle, and I refused to go to the position at the games. Uh, and I decided to take care of myself because I didn't want it to come down to where, oh, I have this problem and I'm not going to perform well and win a medal when I'm expected to. So I remember just going into the games. I wrapped my ankle up myself, iced it down, qualified for the rounds, and then went into the finals. And it was interesting. I'm not sure what actually happened to Sotomayor because he had a couple early misses, and I was feeling pretty good actually, even with a slightly twisted ankle. And anyways, coming out the winner at the World Championship Games, I couldn't believe it. It felt more of a relief. And I saw the disappointment in Sotomayor's face. I'm not sure what that disappointment was. Maybe losing to
Mm.
a small country, small country guy like the Bahamas. Um, I'm not sure, but it was a great feeling. I felt that all these years I've been trying to win a medal, just a medal. In fact, now believe it or not, in fact, I almost gave up at the World Championships. No one noticed, but I knew that Sotomayor has always been better than me. And I said, well, at least I'll get a silver. And then, and then he goes and misses the final jump, which I knew he was capable of jumping all those years, 7 feet 10 inches. And he didn't negotiate it, and I walked out the winner. And I was I don't know, it was very interesting. I felt so good, but so relaxed at the same time. It was different for me, but I was happy with the experience, and I think a lot of the friends that I competed with, the jumpers I competed with, they were really happy for me because they knew how close I had came the previous years, and um, So a lot of them, was really happy that I finally got what I deserved. That's the feedback that I got. So I felt accomplished. I felt accomplished, like I did something well, um, you know, not just for me, but also for my country.
But Troy, I have to go back in time because you didn't set the stage. The stage was set by this.
Oh, okay.
The Federation decided that if somebody would win a gold medal, that's in 1995 now, they would get, I think it is $10,000. If somebody would win a silver medal, uh, 7,500, and the bronze, 5,000. And if they get in the finals, it was 1,000. So nobody knew that. It was only myself, Livingston Boswick, and Asa Ferguson, the treasurer of the B3As. And we put that together. We were thinking about that from the 92 Olympic Games, Troy. And you think about things and then you finally do it. So what happened is that the first minister that would go to a world championships was Algernon SPB Allen. I told the athletes and they agreed, they were excited about it. And then when you were jumping against Sotomayor, I took the minister into your area. I said, Minister, first time talking to him about that. I said, if Troy wins the gold, he will get, and down the line. And Troy did win. And right afterwards, Pauline got the silver medal. And that was just fantastic. And what I did is I took him to ZNS in the IWF area, and he called ZNS, and he said what happened in Gothenburg. And he said what the government will give him. And I said, hallelujah, praise the Lord. And when he went home, they're saying, how could a minister without consultation with the cabinet make that thing? But the country was so excited that there was
Yeah.
no way that the government would have not given that number one for the 10,000 and the 7,500. So it
Yeah.
started a move, and the move he started, he said, because of the performances in Gothenburg, that it was going to be track and field in Atlanta the next year. So that's what I'm talking about. But Troy, tell us about your start in track and field.
Oh my goodness. um, my goodness. My start in track and field. Well, obviously, I've been competing in track since I was a kid. Back in elementary school. But I think my first recognition, I believe I want to say 1981, maybe 1980, 1981, after competing in a regular high school meet. I think I scissored 6 feet. I think it was on the what was the past track and field stadium, the old one, the old
Yes,
track and national stadium. I
Thomas
had
A.
scissored
Robinson
6 feet.
Stadium.
Yes, Thomas A. Robinson Stadium. I had scissored 6 feet in a track meet, and I believe the Pioneers, somebody from the Pioneers, and I excuse me, I cannot remember who that person's name was. It could have been Pancho, but I'm not 100% sure. But somebody from the Pioneers invited me to join the club, and so yeah, and I had to go home obviously and ask my mother for permission to do that because we're talking about committing my time to track and field practices after school. Um, she was on board, obviously, for that. So it started there, and I saw some. I had a lot of good coaches. I know I worked with Fred Wright and Keith Parker, were both people that I learned to work
Very
with.
good technical.
Yeah, very good people. And more so, I was really really happy to be in the presence of Stephen Ray every once in a while because I remember seeing Stephen Ray compete the first time in 1980, and I think the Grifter Trials in 1980 was at St. Augustine's College, and
Yes.
if I remember correctly, and I can remember, I could not believe when I saw this guy jump. I mean, I wanted to be like him. I've never seen somebody so explosive and so beautiful above bar before. It was the most amazing thing in my life. Him and Dennis Richards at the time were the two primary athletes, doing very well. And for me, just as a junior athlete coming up, I just was happy to be in their presence and to learn as much as I can. Stephen Ray was the first one that taught me how to backflip. And I used to just watch how he would run. Dennis Richards, sorry, was also a very
Richards.
explosive athlete. I was different from both of them. Stephen Ray did something really, really good that I like. He combined speed with power.
Oh, yes.
And if you can do that, if you can do that, even I know that today. If you can put those two things together, that makes you an incredibly good jumper, which is how Sotomayor became the world record holder. And
Troy.
obviously, if you remember, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Let me say something. The person who had the record before Stephen Ray, the first one to do 7 foot, he was in the 76 Carifta Games. And I'm trying to remember his name now. Strawn, Vincent Strawn.
Mm.
Okay. And Stephen beat, he did 7 feet in Miami. And then I'm talking about who we just talked about, Stephen Ray. He did
Yeah,
7 foot at St. Augustine's. So, but
right.
you know what is so interesting? That was in 1980. And what happened in 1980? Not Carifta. I am talking about the CAC Junior Championships. And in the CAC Junior Championships, Stephen Ray just let it open and flew. He did he did 220 something. He did
Wow.
he beat the 7 foot by a significant performance, and that's what I'm
Yeah,
talking about.
yeah.
So
Stephen
tell
Ray
us a little
was,
bit about Boise State in your.
I think I lucked out at Boise State. I was at the time I was with I had switched from the Pioneers to the Beantown Flyers and was working with Mr. Neville Wisdom. Uh, uh, Thankful to Neville Wisdom, he had a great training program, 4 o'clock in the morning on the beach, and so that just excelled me. But it was because of Mr. Neville Wisdom and Jerry Wisdom that I actually ended up at Boise State. I think they had some special connection with Coach Jacoby and Boise State athletes. Prior to myself going there, we had Keith Carey, Carmel Major, and Noel Bain already at Boise State. So it made it a little bit easy for me to make that decision to get there. And I'm glad I made that decision because the year that I was recruited with, well, Coach Jacoby, who was my coach at Boise State, his son had just won the NCAA championships in the high jump. So I knew then that, okay, this must be a great decision. I got some great friends there already from the Bahamas. Key Carey was my neighbor down in Stapleton Gardens. And of course, I'm going to go work with Ed Jacoby at Boise State. So it was a win-win situation for me. And it was the first time I really got to know Wendell because Wendell and I came to Boise State. Wendell Lawrence, that is. We went to Boise
Wendell
State
Lawrence,
together.
yes.
Yeah. And so I had Wendell became a great training partner throughout my entire career at Boise State. Everything we did in training was like a competition. That's how it was for Wendell and I. We pushed each other. But I think for Boise State, I think it was a great opportunity for them, just as it was for us coming into Boise State. Wendell and I were some of the first few athletes beyond Jake Jacoby, the son of Ed Jacoby, to go on to Boise to NCAA championships and do really well. And so, so it just kind of took off from there. I remember one year we finished eighth with just 3 athletes at the NCAA championships, which was really, really good. I finished with a second. Wendell was finished with a second or third, I think. And we had a thrower that finished with a second in his event. So Boise State became known as the jumping school. So Coach Jacoby really helped his athletes to excel. And I think in pretty much all the jumping events. So I really, really enjoyed my time there. I won a couple B Sky Conference titles. Went on to win, I think, a second place. So I was a four-time All-American. So I did compete all 4 years at the NCAA championships, and finished either between second or third in those events. So it was a great experience. I
Well,
really liked it.
well, Troy, you have to, if you were, though it is a difficult thing, but compare Jake Jacoby, who I have met, compare Southern Illinois' coach, who's now passed. You wonder who was a better one. They were all very good, Troy.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, Pan Am Junior Championships in 1984. Tell us a little bit about that,
Oh, let me see if I can remember
if you
that.
can remember.
And is that the place where I competed in not just the high jump, but also, um, let's see, I think the pole
This
vault.
was right after the Olympic Games in the Bahamas.
Oh man, you have to refresh my memory, Hawk. That's a little while back. I apologize.
And it's a little while back. Wendell
Yeah, so,
Wendell had the Wendell had the silver or bronze medal, uh, and so let's go to CAC, Central American and Caribbean Championships now in San Juan. I'm jumping a bit in San Juan.
okay.
What do you remember? San Juan, 1989.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember that very well, actually.
You have to.
That was the year. That was the year Sotomayor jumped 8 feet. you know,
Unbelievable.
yeah, it was unbelievable. It was. I didn't know what to think of that. By 1989, I think I had already jumped. I believe I had already jumped 7.5, I believe, and actually, it was the year that I actually took and got my first national record from Stephen Ray by a quarter of an inch, I believe it was. Um, I honestly didn't expect to see an 8 foot jump at that period of time, but it was good to see it because I knew it could be done. I didn't know a whole lot about Sotomayor. 1989 was my first year on the European circuit. I didn't know Sotomayor that well, but to see a world record and to see the 8 foot mark accomplished was interesting. I finished second that year. I think I might have jumped 7.4, 7.4 and a half, or something like that. But basically, he was in the competition all by himself, and it was a interesting experience. Unfortunately, it was not the only time I was in the presence of Sotomayor when he set a world record. There were two other
That's
times.
the point. You had two other times. Yes, that's the
Yeah.
point. Well, let me go to a couple of world championships. Tokyo. You started moving and moving and moving. Tokyo. What did you do in Tokyo?
So Tokyo, I finished fifth place with a jump of 2 meters 34, 7 feet 8 inches. I was happy with
Plenty
the
height
jump.
for us.
you know, think about it: 7 feet 8 inches and finishing fifth place.
Yes,
That's an interesting thing. You had the American record holders, both indoor and outdoor, competing that year. The world record holder competed. The former world record holder from Sweden competing. Of course, myself competing. Every national record holder you can think of today were competing at that time. So it was not an easy time to pick up a medal with 7 feet 8 inches. That just was not happening. Um, and we all knew that. We all knew that if you wanted to pick up a medal, if you wanted to get a medal, you had to jump at least 7 feet 9 or better. So 7 feet 8 is what I got. And I was disappointed, yes, because I felt that I'd worked hard enough. I believe I got my first world ranking that year, if I remember correctly, within the top 10. But yeah, it was not, 7 feet 8 was good. I was pleased with that. My personal best wasn't much higher than that, and so for me, it was okay. I liked the experience, but I was just hungry for more, and I was just waiting for my opportunity and my time to come.
well, more came in Barcelona in 92, 1 year after Tokyo. Tell us about Barcelona, Troy.
Oh man. You know,
The good
Barcelona.
and the not so good.
So I'll tell you the good first. The good part, I believe I showed up to Barcelona late. And the reason for that was a good reason. My son was born a week before the Olympic Games. So I stayed
Oh,
home. Yeah,
a
no,
gift.
yeah, this is a gift. That's right. My son was born a week before the Olympic Games. And so I made the obligation of staying home with my wife at the time and taking care of our baby boy and making sure she was settled in. And then I showed up at the games. Um, I showed up at the games not having any expectation of what to do because the week prior to that, 2 weeks prior to that, I didn't work out. I basically didn't work out. I was
Hmm.
known not to do it. Yeah. So when I got to Barcelona, I was, oh my God, I hadn't worked out because I've been, trying to help my wife out with preparation for the baby and we're all stressed out. I got to Barcelona and then I said, I need to go do something. Well, I worked out. Um, and I remember, thank goodness, we didn't have to jump very high for qualification because I believe, if I remember correctly, so the qualification round, when a certain amount of high jumpers to reach a certain mark, everybody else decided together that we're just going to run through the pit. Um, for instance, if the qualifying mark at that time was 7.6, I think we all together decided that we're just going to jump 7.4, run through the bar, and then everybody advances through, which I believe is what happened. And so, thankfully, because I was so sore from working out that I didn't think I could jump anymore. And then the day of the finals, I still felt sore. In fact, one of the things that I really struggled with was my approach. I mean, no matter where I put that
Hmm.
mark, I could not get within 6 feet of that bar. It felt like I was jumping from too far away. Um, I still managed to do okay, not win a medal. Um, I jumped seven. What's the 7.77? I think 7.7. Um, for what was the place? Sixth place or something like that. Sixth or seventh place.
Seven. Seven.
Yeah,
Yes.
seventh place. And I'll tell you what. That's a year I was more disappointed with that year than anything. It was a year that I really had been doing really well before the games and really well after the games. Preparation to the games just didn't work out to be the way I wanted to be. I ended up ranking number 2 in the world that year, not having won an Olympic medal.
Yes. So let me move from there. Do you remember uh, my friend in Atlanta? I mean, in Chicago, the one who
Yo,
put
what?
on high jump meets.
Oh, Dwight Stones.
No, no, he put on the high jump meet. He was the promoter, the organizer.
I don't.
You
No.
jumped in Chicago several times.
No, you got to
Most
refresh my memory
significant.
there.
Yeah, he was no. He was the organizer of an indoor meet in Chicago just for high jumpers, and
So
you were
for
there
some
two
reason,
times.
well, I remember being there at least twice, but I don't know if I knew the organizer.
Well, the names, you knew the organizer. He wrote to me. I was the president. Wrote to me, and I said everything was okay. But you know what is so interesting in '96? You know what happened in '96 other than the competition? The bomb.
Yes.
And I was in the area. I came from I forget the name of the place, underground Atlanta. And when I
Yeah.
came up, somebody said, "You know what happened tonight?" I said, "No." He said the bomb went off. So there were all kind of television cameras around there. And would you believe that's when I met him because of the bomb. So he
Right.
really did well. I'll
Yeah.
find his name at some point.
Incidentally, Alpheus, I was in that area an hour before.
Before that, yes, yes.
Before that. So
But
I went
you
to
went home early, yes.
yeah, yeah.
So let's switch to something else. You do have a family. I want you to tell me, first of all, about what you're doing now. You talked about the technology that you worked with. People don't remember that, especially young people, and young people don't care. but we have to bring it out. And that's we're talking about legends. Tell us what you did for your business, because you can't run and jump all the time.
Absolutely not. Um, so after I retired from track and field, I got into the technology business. I started working at Hewlett Packard, and Hewlett Packard, or better known as HP, is or was one of the top tech companies in the country, probably in the world, at least at that time. I started off as a tech support agent and then worked my way up, three promotions later, to support engineer. So I worked directly with um, software designers from China, the engineers from China. So my goal was to figure out how to work software and hardware, actually, how to figure out how to make our products better. So I was with HP for about almost 9 years, actually, um, until they started downsizing. So it was a great learning experience. My love for technology was gained after working at HP, because I really didn't know a whole lot at the time. My degree was in communications. Um, so uh, and now I have two other degrees currently, in psychology and then a master's degree in counseling. Right now, I'm currently a counselor working at one of the hotels here. The hospitals here in San Francisco, in the Bay Area. So I'm new to the Bay Area, just about a year, just over a year, and that's what I'm currently doing. So in between HP and what I'm currently doing, I did some college coaching for a couple of years. I coached down at Northern Arizona University. Had some really great experiences and success there. I think together, Coach Jacoby and I, Coach Jacoby, who was the head coach at Boise State, had retired and found his way to NAU. Uh, I think after his third retirement, and together we took a number of our jumpers to the NCAA championships, and so that was excellent. But right now, I am currently working as a counselor. I really love my job. I wanted to be one of those people, that wanted to be more than just track and field. I feel that I have a love for working with people and helping people with their problems and solutions. So that's where I'm at, and I'm enjoying my work right now.
Tell us about your family life, my brother. That is so important. You
My
don't go
family
too
life,
far without
well,
that.
my baby is 28 years old right now, and my oldest is 31. So I have three beautiful kids, 31, 29, 28. So my daughter, my son and daughter, two of my kids live in Dallas, Texas right now. Um, I've since been divorced from my previous wife and remarried. So they are down in Dallas, Texas. When I left Boise, Idaho a year ago, they decided to leave Boise, Idaho also. And I tried to get them to come this way. One of my daughters stayed in Boise, but they all doing really, really well. My son is decided to go to school, so he is in his third year of college. I'm really happy about that. My oldest daughter is married. She's 31, and her and her husband are down in Dallas, Texas. She runs a consignment store. She's into the clothing business type stuff. Her husband is an IT person, so he's doing really well. And my other daughter here, she has a degree, and she's actually in Boise, Idaho. You met her, I believe, at my wedding.
Yes.
I believe, yeah, Mariah. She has a degree in Spanish and also criminal justice. Um, she has had some awesome opportunities, but the girl does not like being behind a desk. She loves being outside. I applaud her for that.
Yes,
She's
yes.
she, she just took a course in avalanche, learning how to avoid avalanches.
Of
So
course it is.
um, yeah, they have a course, and I didn't even know. So she likes being outside. She likes hiking. She likes rock climbing, and that's her love right now. So she's trying to find her thing. But they're all doing really well. I am very, very close to my family. Prior to this last Christmas and Thanksgiving, we spent every Christmas and Thanksgiving together, and met up every other week. My wife, I've been married to my wonderful wife that you've also met, going on 5 years. I think 5 years. She and I have been
Time
together
flies.
for yeah. She and I have been together over 8 years. She has a really the reason why I ended up in San Francisco to begin with was because of her. She got a promotion in her company, and then that job brought us to San Francisco.
Hmm.
So she works for the American Cancer Society. So she is
Important, very
very
important.
important. She works for the government side of things, where she passes policies, help pass policies. So, for instance, she's her policy was banning smoking in this area in San Francisco and preventing kids from getting into smoking tobacco, cigarettes, and so on and so forth. So she's been doing really really well with that stuff, and they definitely recognize her work. I'm just trying to make my, and I'm fitting in. I'm fitting into the community,
Yeah.
so it's doing really well.
Well, Troy, I need to say that I was lucky enough to be connected with you and connected with your stepfather who
Patrick,
passed.
yeah.
Was that 3 years ago? Yeah. We're family from Georgetown, Exuma. And my mother just loved to visit their house. And whenever she went there, she knew that her cousin would have some sodas for her because the fellow was in charge of Coca-Cola, and she
Right,
looked
right.
forward to that. Yeah, and I
Yeah,
always visited Patrick. We all went to Easton and all of that. We
yeah,
visited him every now and then uh, at Coles downtown, and it was always an interesting situation.
yeah,
So, is there
yeah.
anything else you miss that you want to let the world know? Is not just for the Bahamas, not just for the United States, but the world, Troy.
Well, I want the world to know that I'm going to retire in the Bahamas. That's, I've spent a lot of time away from home, but I've always looked back and that, it is better in the Bahamas. And I think I want, the last part of my life to be in the Bahamas. I've got I got a place in mind that I like to end up at. My dad's family is from Eleuthera, and I'm thinking that it'd be nice to end up on that island and hang out there. But um, you know, uh, I just think of the Bahamas as a very peaceful, laid back place, and I think I'm going to need that eventually. So I'm looking forward to that opportunity, and yeah, just going from there. I do want to wish though the Bahamian athletes a lot of success. They've been doing extremely well, and I've had a pleasure watching um, Shawnee Miller and others do extremely well. It's amazing how our little country has taken off and done some amazing things, continuing to do some amazing things. I boast about and brag about our athletes all the time. I say, hey, we only got about 300,000 people, and look what we're
Mm.
doing, you know.
Yes.
Um, but
Since you go ahead.
I definitely want to wish them. Go ahead.
Since you brought that up,
Yeah.
we went to. I did a something for the World Championships in Japan, Osaka, and that would have been, I can't remember the year, but in Osaka, and I gave Donald Thomas your photo, and Donald said, "Oh, that's how he looked." I mean, Donald is born on the 1st of July, 1984.
Yeah.
So you know what
Yeah.
that means. And
He's
Troy,
just a
he
baby.
is still doing great things.
Yeah, I know. I've been following Donald's career. I've been following it very closely. He's a very strong kid, and I'm impressed that he has lasted this long. Obviously, he started a little bit later in high jump um, than most of us, but I think. But he is doing really, really well amongst others. We have there was what's the one with the dreadlocks in his hair again? We have a few other jumpers out there.
Yeah,
Um,
yes, we do.
yeah. So I am the most impressive part of me is that the Bahamas can still take three height jumpers that are jumping over 7, 6.5 to any game. But that's really
Olympics
impressive
or
still.
World Champions. Yeah,
Right.
yes.
So I mean, yeah, I understand that they are all chasing my record. And I sure do hope that somebody gets it someday because that means that we're just improving. that means that things are getting better for us. So
Donald came close, Troy. Donald came true, close.
yeah,
Yes, yes,
I saw the jump. I actually saw the jump
yeah,
on YouTube. It was a good jump. He's an interesting jumper. He's a little bit different, but he does have a lot of talent. Um, so I do wish him a lot of luck, and the other jumpers as well. So it'll have to be at least 710, at least 710
yeah,
to break the record. That would be an accomplishment for the
yes.
Bahamas. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Troy, for this uh, legendary moment uh, with track and field legends. And all over the world, they know you. And the Bahamas, we adore you. Now, the younger people don't know that much, but our opportunity is to spread it around the world. Thank you ever so much.
Thank you, Alpheus. And once again, good luck to the Bahamas this year in the Olympic Games. You guys do well.